Good morning. Good morning. All right. Got my coffee. Server's going to be shutting down in like 50 something minutes. So, trying to just get this in, the dailies and some stuff. Anywho,
Perpetua is forcing her ultraviolet core to
I
attack.
hate when this. Okay. So,
Let's blow out that
I'm
bat
just
god's
streaming for a
eardrums.
couple days. No, I already did that yesterday. Did that. I'm just doing the other dailies. But
Agents of the Dark Knights harry us from all sides.
I don't have
Drive
expectations.
them back.
I'm putting stuff in because
Take out the apex predators.
it's like hit
Use
and
whatever
miss.
means necessary.
Like
Yeah, I know
when
what
I'll
that
be
means.
streaming, and I probably won't be doing up a good group of people I've met through streaming and through gaming. And I think the internet went down
Ready
again.
for some sneaking and sleuthing? Let's
Oh
go!
my god! I put this on low frames. Okay, so see which mission we get. There's lag, so heads up. Apex Forces. Okay. Anywho, so I don't have expectations. I never do in life. My grandfather actually taught me that. My grandfather was more than my grandfather. He was my mentor. Pretty much, as a boy, he would teach, like I said, he taught me how to disseminate, but he taught me about philosophy. Long before Gladiator. Look, the lag is so bad. I'm not even getting anything up on my screen. I might crash. There's a good chance I'm going to crash. Let's try this. There's only one phase. There it is. Okay. I'm lagging, guys. Anywho, but my grandfather, long before the movie, as a boy, I would have learned different, things about psychology and how to disseminate information, and even about philosophy. And I learned long before about Marcus Aurelius. He was, an emperor of Rome, and a philosopher. Stoicism. My grandfather was very stoic. I don't consider myself stoic. I don't. Um, there's a lot of. I think a lot of people misinterpret stoicism. Like, you know, like how to ignore your feelings, but that's not truly what stoicism is. Stoicism is being able to learn how to control your feelings. Like, a lot of things got passed down the line through stoicism, not like the phrase real men don't, right? Real men don't do this, real men don't do that. That all stems from stoicism. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but that's the truth. The mentality of men of today's society has been long. You can trace that back to early points of stoicism. So, but my grandfather was very stoic, and he was always like, it's not about ignoring the feelings as much as it is being able to recognize that the feelings do not exclude what can and cannot be done. And I'm like, Marcus Aurelius? He's like, yeah, Marcus Aurelius. And then he would counter some points of Marcus. He's like, the decisions that we make echo in eternity. He's like, but sometimes the actions we decide not to take echo eternity. I'm like, well, what do you mean, Grandpa? And he's like, well, there's sometimes, sometimes you have to make a decision not to do anything. I'm like, why? And he's like, because the conflict was not started by you. It has nothing to do with you. Therefore, it has to resolve itself. And by you getting involved, you probably heard that saying, best just not to get involved. And that's kind of was his point. Is if you let the conflict resolve itself, you'll find most of the time the instigator never prospers anyways. And expectation
Apex will endure.
is what lets people let you down, not people. And that was one of the best things in life for me, because if you draw an expectation, if you have expectations of a person, you only set yourself up for disappointment, right? But instead, if you encourage people, you get results that are mutually beneficial. My grandpa was the shit. He was the shit.
Absolutely disgusting.
My grandfather was the man. And we'd always have to go fishing to learn these lessons. And now, my dad was a big fisher, so I fished all the time. And so I kind of got sick of fishing, but my grandfather loved fishing, but that's the time that he could actually teach me these lessons. Some things I can talk about, some things I can't, but, you know, they're just whatever. But yeah, he's like, if, you know, it's the expectations that will disappoint you when you draw them. When you have an expectation of it, people don't let you down. It's your expectations that do. So I never have them. I never have expectations. He's like, if you want something, you have to understand your participation in order to see the fruits ripen. It's like it's not enough to plant anything. You can plant a seed. Anybody can do that. He's like, it's the environment in which you plant it which will determine whether or not it's going to bear fruit. Yeah.
For the ultraviolet.
You know, was really my mentor, man. He really did mean the world to me. He really did. And that was kind of the, you know, just deep thinking always. And he would tell me, you know, I'm like, well, what about people who don't see things the way other people do? Because everybody has an difference of opinion. And he's like, well, you know, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? He's like, but why do people have opinions? Why are people so opinionated or so passionate about something? And he's like, it's through their experiences and through, you know, their, well, what we would call tribalism. But he's like, their, how they, you know, are brought up around a certain group of people. He's like, but is it right or is it wrong? Is one side more, you know, right on this issue or is that issue? He's like, you know, the thing about it is, you always have to find compromise, regardless of the differences of opinion. Because it's through the differences of opinion that conflicts are formed. Yeah, the shit. He was the shit. So, yeah, that was amazing. Little did I know. Because, you know, little did I know. You know, very humble man. You know, he's like, you know, sometimes less is more. He's like, if you grow up, he's like, if you were handed something, would you value it as much as something you've earned? I'm like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, if I gave you something, right? If I kept giving you something, right? Would you respect it as much as if I said, hey, go mow the grass and I'll give you the $5? I'm like, well, I would probably value it more if I had to work for it or earn it. And he's like, but why is that? And I'm like, because it took time to do it. He's like, right, there is the most important thing that you just said. It took time. He's like, people put value on things like money and items. But why? Because of the scarcity. But what's the most scarcest thing that you have in your life? My time? He's like, right. The most scarce item that every individual has is time. And he's like, so that's why they always say time is money. But unfortunately, if you associate money to time, those who have excess of it never respect the time in which it takes others to earn anything. The shit. He was the shit.
You really gummed up their works. I'd like to see them
Yeah.
recover from that one.
Yes, now that's what I like
So,
to see.
yeah, that's a lot of my
Forced those feral herds
my
to retreat.
philosophies
Oh,
and
well,
my
I'm glad you're on our
mentality, my
side.
way of
Thanks.
thinking stem from my upbringing. All right. That's why I'm always like telling people, man, I have conservative beliefs. However, I would much rather hang out with individuals who do not share my beliefs. Why? Because I want to understand their reasoning, because it's through their experiences that give them that make them believe the way they do, and I might not have those experiences. So for me to understand
Got today's play right here.
their logic,
Let's show Ebon
I
he's
would
messing
have
with the wrong
to,
ones.
be around them. I may never accept their reasoning.
people
I
out of
may
the fire.
never agree with them. But to have
This sadistic even for
individual
parademons. They must be
thoughts
stopped.
and respecting it, right, will
Fearsome Five will be
at least
running
allow
scared
me to
of you.
have a dialogue with individuals who don't think
Demonstrate your
the
strength.
way
to
I
me.
think or feel the way I feel.
Let's pull
Because
the
in
plug
life,
on the sod's
that's
tampering and
that's
flush this
constant.
chemo experiment.
It's constant. You'll never change that, no matter how I love how everybody's just gassed up in society. It's everywhere. Everybody is gassed up. Oh shit. Oh no. No, okay. It's the other one. I'm trying to find everybody. But anyways, yeah. And like even me doing this video, I don't expect people to agree with me. I really don't. That's probably the one thing I don't want people to do, is to agree with me. That's why, and you guys know that. Why does this thing? Oh, you know why? Because it's Dr. Light in them, I believe. Why isn't anybody down there? Oh my god, this is going to suck. One thing I hate about early mornings, man. The main phases will always fill. You only have 16. I wish they would just conjoin some of these. Oh boy. Such a pain in the ass. It's early though. They should just, whatever. But yeah. So, let me check to see if there's any comments. No. And I can move that over here. It's just easier for me to read. But, yep.
Untested apocalyptic attack. Obey and serve.
So, yeah. I definitely miss my old pa. When he died, literally my world fell apart. It did. He left me alone here. Because he would tell me that. He's like, we're alone. We are alone in this world. Nothing we can do. And he'd be like, but one day, we'll be able to go home. So when people ask like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because that was the dream. That was the dream. One day to be able to go home.
I can endure far more.
God, this leg.
Look out!
Let's see if I can get it.
Please, you've
If not, I might just have to do the missions. But you know,
Yeah. Ah! Stop that. No!
yeah, I'm lagging.
What?
One thing I loved about my experiences in gaming, though, is just, for example,
Stop that!
like people
Really?
doubting me. And to this day, I still have haters. I still have doubt. Even people I've grown up with, they are like really just whatever. But and yeah, I think it doesn't hurt me what most people think about me. Never did.
More weak-minded
But
fools
it's-
to command.
It's the people that you really, you know, never expected that'll always throw you off.
You
Oh
insignificant!
snap! That might be bad.
Inconceivable. You
My light will blind you.
stop
At
that.
least I'm not gonna get smashed on this.
Oof. Ah!
But
Really?
yeah, people
Enough.
you know end up
What?
you know doubt are against you. It's and that and you know I've never been that type of person. Like even in ESO, I'm like sure I'd make fun of people for being ridiculous. There's no such thing as diminishing returns. Oh look at Mystic, he's trying to heal with a night blade. I'm like man, okay, I'm gonna poke at that. I really am. But my biggest thing is not I never think I'm better or nor do I wish people not success because I'm a type of person like oh well shit man I wish you the best you know I mean that's me
Of all fortunes, the you hostile.
Now I'm mad.
Ouch!
Get squished.
Don't do. The earth trembles.
You
at
kidding
my
me?
Touch. Earth in
You trying to
fire
hurt me?
rises. Oh,
trying to keep them as close as possible
Ganging
Mammoth's
up on
kind of
me,
an
huh?
asshole
That hurt me more than it did you.
you must enjoy pain.
Recoil in terror. Oh.
Fury shake the earth.
it's getting a little better
Oh.
okay Now I can go to number 1. I thought that was too bad, but... Anywho, yeah. So, I mean, imagine growing up with somebody like that, and then he just dies. I mean, and then you go to school, and nothing, like, you're learning like other people, and there's very important elements to, you know, public education. You know, you need accessibility to an education, but because you have a slight different, you know, exposure, you're always going to be slightly different, right? And that's really hard, you know. I think that was probably one of the hardest things growing up, was just feeling
Way too close.
like no matter how many people I was ever exposed to, a form of isolation. I mean, I got along with people fine. You know, most people would, you know, I played sports growing up. Never considered myself popular, but everybody knew me. Everybody. So I wasn't the quiet or the shy type. I hung out with the hoodlums a lot, you know, because I was going through a lot of things in my own personal life, and I could resonate with troubled individuals a lot. I went through a lot of stuff in my life, so I definitely could, you know, resonate with that. And but yeah, I was never a bad boy. Everybody's like, oh, you're like this bad boy. I'm like, no, not really. I'm, you know, everything I've ever caused for like pain, I never wanted to hurt other people or anything. I hate conflicts, physical conflicts, but if I got into it, like, you know, I wasn't scared to, you know, to defend myself. Actually, my grandfather would always make a point, we stick up for those who cannot defend themselves. It's like, it's very important. And he's like, why? He's like, because if bullies are allowed to go unchecked, you have a major problem there, and you might be able to avoid it for a little while. And he's like, but sooner or later, when they go through all the other ones and they start massing up, they'll be coming for you, even if you never tried, even if you were never against them. He's like, so we aren't never going to tolerate that. I'm like,
Wasn't
yes,
a
sir.
fan of that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So that's why I'm always telling. That's why I don't like bullies. I don't like hard asses. I do not like those people who just want to walk around like they're mega. I don't like those people. You know, you want to pick on somebody your own size? Yeah, come on, pick on me. And I'll defend those. That's one thing. That when people, like, I might agree with somebody. I might. But when you start fucking with somebody, even if I don't agree with that person, I will defend them. Why? Because you ain't gonna force your opinion on nobody there, Jack. And I mean that shit.
Getting it close there, yo.
So, believe it. And that's, you know, how I've had to, why I'm built different all the way around. I'm completely built different. And I hate those bitches too. I love it because when they act hard. And Lord, trust me, some of my friends, actually quite a bit of my friends have been the type that have been in jail, prison. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people who have done time. I've always tried to encourage my friends not to do that stuff. Try to keep them out of trouble. You know? Why? Because everybody goes through moments in life where, you know, they get caught up in the things they shouldn't be caught up into. So I'm always trying to encourage people, and you don't need to be doing that shit, man. Fuck that. You know? Don't need to do that. Fuck that shit. I don't believe people in general are bad, I feel like their experiences have led them to make bad decisions. Right? Their condition, their environment has conditioned them.
Repairs required.
Right? So if you give people an opportunity, it's like, you know, if people, okay, so the higher in an unemployment rate in any country, this is statistics, is the more crime is going to rise. Why? Because people don't have a way to earn the things they need to survive. So if they have no way of, you know, earning something, then they will resort to whatever it takes to survive. And that is very, you know, problematic for a society. When you don't give people the capability to live a life, then they will resort to any measure necessary to survive. So that's what I'm always saying. I'm always like, man, listen, man, this person, when people want to be judgmental, I'm like, this person didn't have the same lifestyle you had. This person didn't have the same exposure. This person didn't have, I feel like more people who grow up poor, because my dad was a truck driver, so I was always like middle class or poor. So
I'll just to boil your blood. Out.
well, at least we got that done.
Stand on your grave.
Let's exploit their weakness.
Don't do
But so I never
your mistress.
think that I'm better than anybody. But you know, I've had family that I have family that have money, and so my world's been crazy. I've had the best exposure of everything that you can think of in a life, and most people didn't know that. They're like, "What? That's your family?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Obey.
They're like, "I didn't know," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." I don't want people to know.
Fury shifts the earth.
So 30 minutes, yeah, we'll get everything in.
How dare you?
I need camo more than anything. I still need camo. But yeah, I'm always telling people, so like when unemployment goes up, crime goes up, right? And that's just, you know, that's the nature of the beast. You know, if you don't be ignorant. And I used to tell people that most times the people with, you know, like who don't have everything are very humble people. And I'm like, it's the people who usually typically have everything handed to them that are the most obnoxious and self-centered people that you will be exposed to in a life. Why? Because they don't respect, like I said earlier, they don't respect anything because everything's been handed to them. Right? And that's something I've always taught my girls. Even if life is kind to you, you wouldn't want to expose your children to that. You want to give them a humble background, no matter where they're from. Why? Because so they can be, you know, somewhat sympathetic, empathetic. So they can at least care, try to. Like, I'm a dick. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like when people talk about narcissism, no, it's just me and my philosophies. When people want to talk about narcissism, I'm like, it's kind of interesting. Because, yes, there's narcissism. But our society is narcissistic in nature. Because we've propelled, we've, you know, have always are, you know, adjusting the blame. We're always like, oh yeah, you know, it's these people, it's those people, it's this people. I always tell people, man, you have choices. You might not like the choices, but you have them. So you really can't blame a group more than you should be blaming yourself in any scenario. If you cannot be blaming yourself, right, then all you're doing is just being narcissistic. You're becoming a narcissist. Why? Because it's easy for you to point the blame elsewhere. And that's all I see. I don't watch media, social media most of the time. Well, I might go through TikTok or Facebook, but like I don't watch media, news, none of that stuff. Because it's all narcissistic to me. All of it. It's all narcissistic. I'm like, that's all I see is narcissism being televised. People, instead of trying to find compromise or trying to understand the scenario, they just point the finger. These people, it's those people. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm actually contributing to the problem. Oh shit, fuck it. Like there's a lot of things that people, like I said, people do in their real life, I don't agree with. But why would I let it bother me? I usually don't. Why? Because as a society, we have to find common ground. If you don't, then that's how conflicts arise. Because you have a difference of opinion. It's amazing. Humanity has a lot to learn. That's why I'm always laughing about the stock market. My grandfather taught me economics, and little did I know. I'm like, he didn't work in the field. He was technically a mechanic, but yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. I was like, how the hell did Grandpa learn about all this shit? You would think to yourself, what the fuck? Most people consider my grandfather a loser, actually. But man, we're here to find out. Like, it all made sense. It all made sense.
Open your mind. Simon will show you your worst fears.
And he would always be like that. He's like, our family saying is sometimes less is more. He's like, that's what we live by.
Take care of these morons. Time to take out the trash. Such weak minds, so easy to control. Stop that. More weak-minded fools.
Now I'm mad.
What?
That hurt me more than it did you. You trying to hurt me?
I only got Chemo after this and we'll be done. Well, and then I got the raid
That
after
hurt me more than it
Servant's
did
back on.
you. Look out below! Oh! You trying to hurt me? Gah!
Okay. Oh, come on. We're done. Okay.
Today, you face justice.
Your gods cannot rise. And
like to usually turn in, which I'm trying. Should be coming up. Right. We're done. But like, I don't want people to think the way I think. I appreciate them for their individual thoughts. I don't want like I think it's important for people to have individual beliefs, individual thoughts, individualism. I think that's the most important thing.
I knew I liked
So
you.
I have appreciation for different cultures. I have appreciation for a different perspective. I have an appreciation for the
Oh man,
difference-
that fight was
differences
a whole
in
nother
life.
level.
Why? Because that's what makes life
No enemies
interesting.
can stand against your strength.
But it's when people
took out
don't
Chem already?
respect
Color me
a
shocked.
different culture, a different perspective, a different way that we become, very arrogant and ignorant. And that is the problem. And when we start blaming people for those differences, that is narcissistic tendencies. So, yeah. That's just how I take it. Food for thought. Because in the end, I'm always realizing, yo, what's up, this and that. What's good? Ready for the weekend? I work all weekend, but yep, I'm ready for it. Gotta work. I'll be back in Deutschland in a few weeks. I have a place over there, a loft over in Deutschland. So yeah, going back to Germany soon. Getting in what I can, and then, seeing where we're at. But yeah, these are my philosophies. These are my way of thinking in life. I owe it to my opa, my grandpa. Yeah, he was definitely my mentor. And I'm very blunt. I'm very talkative. But like I said, he wasn't. He was very stoic, very, very stoic. Probably one of the reasons I don't consider myself stoic is because I do reflect, and that is part of stoicism, is reflecting. Because you have to be able to control not just your emotions, but you have to accept. Like I always tell people, the thing about stoicism is stoics aren't emotionless as much as they're in control and aware of their emotions. That's the difference. And the only reason I don't consider myself stoic, because true masters of stoicism are very, they control an environment just in their presence. Why? Because they don't need to talk much. But when they do, it's deep, right? It's not self-centered. It's not about, look at me, oh, I'm this, it's always about the individuals. Maybe I'm not saying I don't have stoic qualities, but I definitely am not a quiet individual. Okay, so there it is. But yeah, a lot of things I've had to like it was all these things were instilled into me as a kinder, as a child. So yeah, you know. And then when he left me, you know, I was alone. I could be around millions of people, and I always felt like it. But when I was in Germany the first time, man, I was like, and I would talk to people. I was like, oh my God. And I felt that. I felt a peace, you know. No, it was amazing. So, yeah. It's hard to explain, I guess. But man, thank you, Dave, for stopping in. I appreciate it, brother. And just remember, it's not people that let you down. It's your expectation of them. Peace.